Hi, let's talk about interdicts in the context of law of competition or competition law. This is with regards to business law. So we're going to talk about two types of interdicts. First of all, we need to know what an interdict is. And yeah, and then we can dive into the two type of interdicts that we're going to be talking about. An interdict is a court order that commands a person or an entity to do something or to refrain from doing something. Let's say, for example, you have a neighbor who likes to party a lot, they play loud music and so on and so on, and you're trying to stop them from doing that. Then you would approach a court and apply for an interdict to stop them from playing that loud music. So it is a legal remedy that can be sought in various situations to prevent harm, to preserve rights, or to maintain the status quo. Okay. Interdicts are commonly used to provide immediate relief in urgent cases where a party's rights at risk of being violated, or when there is a need to prevent potential harm or damage. Okay, so today the types of interdicts we're going to look at, it's the prohibitory interdict, also known as the mandatory interdict. We're also going to look at the final interdict and the temporary interdict, and then we're going to give examples of each. Okay. So a prohibitory interdict is the one that stops a person or a company from doing it. Or well, in this context, obviously, we're talking about competition law, which is going to be more on companies. So it is a court order that stops a company from doing something that may harm fair competition in the market. It prevents them from engaging in conducts that could unfairly limit other businesses' ability to compete fairly, or could harm consumers' interests. Like, for example, I have a business that is making cookies. I love cookies. Making cookies, for example, and then I have a competitor who also has a business that makes cookies. And then when the competitor sees that my business is thriving, and then now he goes around telling people that I use artificial colorants or artificial sweeteners for my cookies, which is unhealthy for people. And then that will be damaging to the name or the reputation of my business. So I can approach a court and apply for a prohibitory interdict that will stop them from spreading such rumors, So it is an interdict that is used to maintain a level of playing field and to ensure that everyone has a fair chance to succeed in the business market fairly, and everyone has to succeed fairly. We can't be spreading rumors and trying to succeed in the name of getting other people down, right? Okay, so there's my example. I said, imagine there are two companies that sell similar products in a local market. One company, let's call it company A, it starts spreading false rumors about the quality of the other company's products, which is company B, to discourage customers from buying from them. If company B feels that this is unfair and harming their business, they can seek a prohibitory interdict, just as I explained above, to stop company A from spreading these false rumors and to ensure that a fair competition in the market is vital. So the interdict would prevent company A from continuing with these harmful practices and allow company B to compete fairly and maintain its customer base. Okay, now let's dive to the final interdict, which is, it's obviously on the name. It's a final interdict. It is a court order that is issued at the end of legal proceedings. Let's say, for example, we had proceedings going on in court, we had an issue going on in court, and then at the end of those proceedings, then a permanent decision that is taken by the court, which determines the rights and the obligations of the other parties in disputes. Let's say, for example, in that case of that noisy neighbor that I have, who let's say the matter went to court, and then when the court has made its decision, then they can obviously issue a final interdict that says, hey, Mr. Noisy Neighbor, you are not allowed to play loud music at any time after 8 p.m. between Monday and Friday. Okay, that would be like a final that Mr. Noisy Neighbor wouldn't do that again. Okay. Let's look at a temporary interdict. It's also within the name. It's also known as an interim interdict, and it is a provisional court order. And then this type of interdict is usually it provides immediate relief, you know, in emergency cases. So it is always often granted to prevent irreparable harm or prejudice until a final court decision is made. So let's say, for example, I'm not going to explain this example more because it might conflict, but let's say, for example, somebody is renting your house and then they haven't been paying, and as the landlord, you go there and, you know, just put a padlock outside the house. You lock the house so that they can't gain access. This is kind of urgent. Then the tenant can now approach a court and be like, hey, the neighbor has locked me out. I need a temporary interdict that will allow them to unlock the place for me. The legalities of the matter, the court doesn't take into consideration the legalities of the matter. They just want to restore the things to the way that they are. So it's like maintaining the status quo until the matter has been fully resolved. So let's go to the examples of a final interdict. Okay, final, I've used this example. Imagine you have a noisy neighbor who plays loud music late at night and disturbing your peace. If you take them to court and the judge issues a final interdict, it means that the court has permanently ordered your neighbor to stop playing loud music during certain hours, ensuring a peaceful neighborhood for the long term. So that would be an example for the final interdict. And then for a temporary interdict, let's say if you are renting a property and your landlord suddenly tries to evict you without a proper reason, you can seek a temporary interdict from the court to stop the landlord from evicting you. So this order will temporarily prevent the landlord from evicting you until a final decision is made, ensuring that you have a place to live while the legal proceedings are ongoing. Yeah, so that is the perfect example for a temporal interdict. Okay. Okay. Just 1 second. I want to check if that is all. Okay, so there is also the requirements for the interdict. So with the requirements for the interdict, we look at the act. Is the act a requirement or not? Yes, it is. Usually a threatened or actual unlawful competitive act. The wrongfulness of the act. Yes, it is a requirement. The act must have infringed or threatened to infringe a competitor's right to the goodwill of his or her business. And then when you apply for an interdict, any interdict, it might mean that there is no other remedy available. It means that there is nothing else. There is nothing else that you could have done. So your interdict should be the last resort. And if there is any criminal activities that is not considered by the court, criminal sanction is not regarded as a remedy for the purposes of this requirement. So if it's a criminal activity, then it will obviously be dealt with in terms of criminal law. So for interdict purposes, it has to be the only and the last resort at that particular moment. fault is also not a requirement as well. So the requirements, the conduct, wrongfulness of the act, and the interdict must have been the only option or the last resort. So to kind of solve the dispute in that particular instance. And it looks like we are done on the interdicts. Thank you very much and goodbye.